Hi guys, this is Sidney. I was feeling called to create this new offering for you guys, or for anyone resonating and feeling pulled to connect further that way, with specific topics that is in relation to current energies. For example, at the moment, we are going through a lot of physical changes, as well as energetic changes that are all interrelated. And my spirit team has been encouraging me to share more and get more involved with more spiritual knowledge or guidance. And also sharing my personal stories of going through my unique journey. And by sharing, the intention behind it is that someone can resonate or relate, because usually the spiritual journey, or this ascension journey, or especially when you start to wake up in a major way, you may start to go into a hermit mode and experience a lot of isolation and solitude, and with the connection this way, I can help those people who may go into that phase, or just in general. But that's what I receive. The word that is coming is like an instruction for me. And I have been having this idea to do this for since last month, but I wasn't feeling really like in the right element or feeling balanced to do this, and that it kept the energy has been with me constantly. And when that happens, I need to share that out. I need to open up my throat chakra and share this information or guidance, or what my spirit team wants me to share. I am also getting out of my comfort zone right now to push me out of this, this format that I was getting used to. And then this is like a new avenue for me to connect with those of you who are wishing to connect with me further, who feel called in an additional extra way from this point onwards. And I don't know how this is going to work out, but I'm just going to, in a way, play with this as I'm guided. And so I wanted to bring lightheartedness to this, because right now the energy is very, in a way, okay, so I'm just going to speak as we are just chatting, or I wanted to make it more like comfortable and more relaxed and free flowing, and as always intuitive. So you can also relax into it as well, as if we are just talking and we are having some water together, tea together, or coffee, or however you can have your food. The topic that my spirit team really wants me to cover with is the topic of so-called the ascension symptoms. So this word specifically, ascension symptoms, I believe has been started to use widely in the spiritual community, as we are apparently experiencing more of the ascension energies, meaning the rising of the frequency that is affecting the physical body. Therefore, we are experiencing certain things on a physical level. But it's not just on the physical, it's the mind, body, spirit, it's all interconnected. So, but it's more highlighting the physical aspect as we're in the physical reality. So, that's the basic idea, or the, I believe is the intention behind the word usage of the Ascension symptoms for communication purposes, so we understand, right? So, so I'm going to share about what Ascension symptoms are, how you can approach it from a perspective point of view, how you can utilize it on a mental perspective, so you can also use this Ascension symptoms to help you with your spiritual evolution journey or soul growth journey, or however you resonate with it. Also, by having this information to help you relieve of your anxiety or stress because of the fear of the unknown, that you may experience something and then you may be in worries or anxiety of what's going on and something like that. So to help you release that, help you feel relieved, and share some of my personal experiences going through physical ascension symptoms. And as of right now, as I'm speaking, I am experiencing physical symptoms, so I can share this. So that's what I'm feeling called to and guided to do at this time. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to share the details and the specifics, and then have it on my Patreon, and then it's going to be the exclusive guidance and sharing of my journey session. So anyone who wants to learn more and explore more and need help and guidance with can go there and then connect with me with that energy that I'm sharing over there, because this may not be not everyone may be interested in these topics. So I have certain topics in mind. I have another topic that came to me is, so far it's 2 topics, is Ascension symptoms, and another one is about crystals, so how you can utilize crystals or the frequency of the crystals to help you relieve as we go through this journey, because the frequency is rising very fast. And since July, we've entered into a big release of the karmic cycle, and with that a lot of people are going into the north node of their blueprint in this lifetime. So what took place since July was that we start to have the full moon in Capricorn twice, and with that every month, for example, in July, we had the new moon in Cancer and then full moon in Capricorn, which is the north node, south node, axis. And then from that point onwards, it started to reset. So on August, we started to have, we had the new moon in Leo and the full moon in Aquarius. And now in September, we are having the new moon in Virgo and then full moon in Pisces. So the cycles are closing out in order for new cycles to begin. So the south node is closing out in order for north node to open up, meaning a lot of people, a lot of souls are going to go on the path of their north node. And especially marking the September, one of the significant sorry, I got something on my so one of the significant information that I received just earlier today was that on the day of the full moon, I believe, this month. It's that energy, the Uranus energy, and something else, some other transit is squaring South Node. And with that, we are going to further uncover a lot of our truths on a collective level. So the systems on societal level can come down. It can experience deconstruction in order for reconstruct, which is continuous theme this year. So already a lot of news, especially in Korea, where I'm from, in this lifetime. They're already having a lot of the exposure, especially in the entertainment industry, because the entertainment industry is one of the biggest, the power structure, the system structure that's representing the old energy of survival, or the age of Leo, of the centralized power system. So with that, the singer Prince from US, right, has been coming through since late last year. So the energy of Prince and his spirit has been coming through very heavily, actually, because he was talking about the sovereignty constantly, even when the energy was very dense back when he was alive. And going back when he came through, I started to remember that I was in Seattle. I stayed there for 3 months, and I was there for several times. And then I was actually connecting with a lot of the Neptunian energy while I was there. I didn't realize back then. And that was like 2017 and 2018, before I had the major initiation and spiritual wake up. So I remember going to this museum of rock or something like that in Seattle, and then I remember connecting with the energy of Prince for the first time, and I start to remember that for some reason. So he's bringing a lot of that energy right now, and I don't know why I'm guided to share this, but that's what is coming up. So if you have been a fan of Prince, or if you enjoyed his music in this lifetime, I knew who it was, but I never was into his music, or never was really exposed to his music, so I never really listened to his music. But his music started to come through, like the Purple Rain, and then I immediately knew that that frequency is not just a regular music, and that he's a starseed. So I have been connecting with this energy, but this is the first time that I'm sharing about the energy of Prince right now for some reason, because he's coming through very strong, even as I'm speaking right now for some reason. And then it's because we are now getting into the age of Aquarius, and in this last preparation period of the Pluto in Capricorn we are experiencing right now, and until November this year for the last time. His spirit is coming through very strong, and a lot of Neptunian energy with that. And it is because we are now preparing ourselves to have the energy and utilize the frequency energy for healing on all levels from this point onwards. And I think that's why, in extension to that, my guides wanted me to further record about the Ascension symptoms. And it's not just going to be about what it is and what you can do, but it's also going to be about how you can approach it, and how have a different perspective on it. So they want us to utilize more of the frequency in terms of healing ourselves in our continuous healing journey, on a physical level, on a mental level, on an emotional level, on all levels at this time. And that's an extension to the Ascension energy, because the energy is rising very quickly, even right now as I'm speaking. And as more souls are going to wake up and sense this energy more sensitively, what I'm guided to share is they need help. So I need to speak more about these things and have this extra offering at this time. But I need to do it in a balanced way. So I need to keep the energy exchange in balance. So that's why I'm going to utilize the Patreon platform for the time being. So that anyone who's willing to connect is receptive and appreciative and reciprocating on an equal level. So that balance is going to be very important from this point onwards, is what I'm guided to share as well. Okay, so so they also want me to speak, continuously speak about the North Node, South Node importance. So when I looked at it, I wrote down, so it started from July, and if it's continuing with this cycle, we're going to go to the whole cycle until February, I believe, next year in 2025. So the energy right now is really getting us prepared. So this rising of the frequency is not only for the age of Aquarius, but also for the individuals to continuously work on releasing the idea of karma, meaning karma simply means, you know, we need to stay in balance energetically. So that's where the balance is constantly coming up right now from this point onwards. And that in September, I shared in the latest video about Mother Mary coming up, and then I also shared the exclusive transmission on Patreon. So I'm going to put all these links in the description box down below for anyone resonating and feeling called to connect further. So that transmission is there, and that the rose in the heart center has been one of the transmissions, and then another rose or another flower blooming in the root chakra has been the latest one over there. So I've been sharing a lot about the 144,000 and that what we are doing and getting ourselves prepared right now is to accelerate. Like this acceleration is coming up. So with that, what I'm seeing in my third eye vision is that symbol of the Kundalini with the snake representing, you know, like the spine energy, like the spiral is what I'm seeing with my third eye right now as I'm sharing. So that energy is going to spiral up very quickly, and a lot of souls may experience Kundalini awakening. So something that I'm also guided to share is you're not supposed to force anything to happen. So you're not supposed to learn how to raise your Kundalini, or what's the word? Awaken your Kundalini, or open up your third eye, like all these ideas. If anything is forced, you're going to suffer that much, because everything has to be in the natural flow and everything has to be in that order. of the nature of your essence. So when it's force that is created out of the ego, and the reason why it hurts is because it's out of balance, in a sense that there's lack of trust. So we always have to trust the process is the message, especially right now. So it could be an idea of having more patience at this time and cultivating more acceptance of this moment now. Therefore, we are training ourselves more to get adjusted to this new energy of high frequency, of more living in the present moment to moment, so that we are cultivating more equilibrium in our energy points, so that we can open up our heart and expand our cosmic heart, or the higher heart, or the heart center, however you resonate, that rose energy of Mother Mary in our heart center is what I'm guided to share. So what came to me was, when you look at the point, this is a line. So what we are also working with is something that I also shared in previous video, recent videos, with the Pluto in Capricorn energy in retrograde right now. We are working a lot with releasing all the pressures, external pressures we used to live under. So external pressures for ourselves to prove ourselves rather than just being who we are. So we are learning or teaching ourselves once again to accept, to acknowledge, and to be okay, that it's okay for you to be who you are, and that is enough, that idea. And we are really embodying with this frequency right now, because we've been living under constant pressure to overdo something for a result. So what we've been doing was, we've been constantly seeing something as means to an end, not just people, other resources, which created a lot of abuse, a lot of environmental issues, and a lot of relationship abuse, right? But also it's to okay, something just went off. So as I was connecting, I forgot what the energy was before. Okay, let me just reconnect. So what my guides are saying right now is that this could also be one of the ascension symptoms at this time, as we are raising our frequency, also especially with higher chakras, especially with crown chakra right now. You may lose your train of thought, or something that I also mentioned in my previous video earlier this year, I believe around springtime, when we were really rising up in frequency, like a jump up. A lot of people started to experience like vertigo symptoms, or just, for example, like myself, I remember like I just forgot about the passcode of my house or the apartment building all of a sudden, and I just couldn't remember, like because of the rise in frequency. Okay, so I now they want me to speak about and with this rising of the frequency, what we are also getting prepared is a lot of different concepts and consciousness that is tied to the idea of time and space that we've been living under. And they also want a lot of people, a lot of people are going to be exposed to new concepts, or they have to get exposed to a new perspective on the concept of time and space. It's going to take a while, but that's what I'm guided to share, because a lot of people are going to wake up in the collective with this rising of the frequency that is starting. And so right now, the very idea of time and space that we have are constantly limiting ourselves, limiting our minds on all different levels. So that's also in tied to opening up our heart. So they want me to explain this, that when we look at the present moment, so far currently, even though we may have this new consciousness or concept, even for those souls who already are exposed to this knowledge, we are going to have to continuously work to embody this, that we've been living under the concept of the linear timeline. So the past, and then present, and then future. But everything happens simultaneously, and this is holographic in nature. This is like a virtual reality, is what I've been constantly guided to mention in recent videos, is we are getting prepared to get out of that concept in order for our consciousness to match this new rising frequency. And with that, a lot of the new things that are going to take place in the Ascension plan can successfully be successfully anchored for Gaia's ascension, is what I'm guided to share. So right now, relearning or training ourselves to live in the present moment is going to be the new journey that a lot of people are going to have to embody and experience and relearn and train themselves to, because we are constantly used to living under worry, anxiety, and stress. And it's also in our DNA, in our cells, because of the ancestral generational passing down of this generational karmic energies at this time. So even though you may not have experienced any traumatic experience about certain things, but it's still in your DNA. And so our job at this time, if you're here on earth, is very significant in a sense that we are to clear all that up. Okay, that's why this process of constant purging, constant releasing, constant going through some of the issues or the topics that may have been highlighted in your unique healing, empowerment, growth journey, however you resonate with these terms, that you feel like it's recurring, it's coming up again over and over, is because it goes way back, is what I'm guided to share. So that's where it's also helping us to build the trust. And what my spirit team wants me to share is you can utilize everything to serve us. So they want us to utilize that to help us train ourselves to trust the process and trust the journey, so that you can live in the present more. And by doing so more and more and more, we are going to reverse that DNA codes and free ourselves from that. So that's why all this talk about the slavery. The history of the slavery has been coming up, which I shared in the videos that I shared earlier this year. So my spirit team had me connect with all kinds of histories of slavery, and by watching certain documentaries or shows or information, so that there are certain points in different parts of the world where it's very heavy and that needs to be released. And recently what started to come up was the energy of New York City, which I also mentioned in my latest video, the recent one. And it continuously came through, and especially the energy of Brooklyn has been coming through since last month. And as I was tapping into that energy, what the information that I received was that there's a lot of the conflict within the family, meaning separation, like the gangster and killing and murdering and the drugs, and that's related to poverty and all of that energy, very heavy in Brooklyn. That a lot of souls died, a lot of that heavy energy there, and a lot of the lost souls, stuck souls in within that continent, or that land, that area in Brooklyn. So the energy is very heavy, and that's connected to the energy of New York City that also needs to be cleared up, that is connected to the energy of Atlantis. And we need to do that in order to open up further of the codes of the golden Atlantis. In order to build the new golden age, we need these codes, is what I'm going to share. So that energy needs to be cleared up in Brooklyn, and that it's related to the idea of judgment. So what I learned was that there used to be different projects, and the project simply meant like Cooper Project in Brooklyn, that represented one area within Brooklyn, and then another project, and that meant the city had a project where they built housing, like the apartment housing, to house people with less income and who are in poverty. And so they started to form certain districts, and then within that district, where they called that what came was the Cooper Project, that exists in Brooklyn. That area is called Cooper, and Cooper Project. And within for the people who live there, they bond so strongly like family. So it's not just your blood family, but everyone there is like a big community. So they support each other, they help each other. So that's how they used to form gangs to go against other communities within Brooklyn, to go against. And so that also is bringing me back to like the gangster wars that was really heavy in the 1990s, like between New York and LA and all that sort of things. So that energy is related to that idea of that deep-rooted survival, lack, poverty, hatred, that is the judgment. So going against one territory to another and fighting over each other and killing each other, and for what, right? So that had been the history, recent history, in that area, very heavy in New York City. And I remember like Harlem used to be like really very high in crime and very dangerous place, but I didn't know that Brooklyn was what's coming is like actually even worse than the notorious reputation of Harlem is what I'm going to share. So that energy needs to be cleared up at this time is what I'm going to share. So that's why I think I mentioned about the starseeds are already there in New York City in the previous video with the Sirius energy. In order for them to be there to expand their soul signature of that blue healing light that's within their aura, within their soul signature. So they're also, just by being there, they're clearing up a lot of that energy. And that is relation to also the time, that idea of time and space that we've been living under, that one territory against another one, and then the revenge of the family against another family, and then that revenge continues on. So what we need to what would be the word? What we need to anchor down more of the new consciousness, or the higher level of consciousness that's going to be in alignment with the rising of this frequency, is that time and space does not really exist. One way they want me to explain is that you can see that as a system. So that system was utilized in the age of survival, in the age of Leo, in the age of ego. What's the word that is coming is the egocentric construct or egocentric manifestation that has been cultivated, and systems and institutions and all these things that we are living right now, that is a constant representation of limitation. But right now our energy needs to expand, so we need to bring these concepts of limitations to the light, is what I'm going to share, so we can transmute this energy. Okay, so with the Dumbo area that is rising, that has been rising, that energy of Brooklyn has been cleaned up, but still what I'm seeing is a lot of stuck souls there who died from these territorial fights and gangster fights. So they need to be cleared up. So as I'm channeling, what I'm going to do is I'm sending energy and light passageway, sending to Brooklyn right now for those souls to follow the light, to follow the light. So something that I'm guided to share is, if you're a light worker, if you are feeling called to do this, you don't have to resonate with these terms or identify with these terms. It's always intuition and your soul calling or pulling to something that you are meant to do it. Is that you can visualize sending light to that area in Brooklyn, all over Brooklyn, and then just visualize this light way, and then calling in angels. And while you do so, you want to bring in Archangel Michael for protection, and Archangel Sandalphon, and then sending the intention that all these souls find and follow this light with the angels, so they can no longer be lost in this realm. So the reason why they want us to do this, or anyone resonating to do this, to serve Gaia or to help Gaia at this time, is that the Gaia needs to clear up all these energies, like all these stuck souls and all this in different places as well, in order for it to further expand and continue to raise its frequency, meaning it needs to create room for more light to come through. And that's what I'm guided to share with you guys. Okay, so please participate if you feel called to, and if you know that intuitively it's something that you want to contribute on a soul level at this time. Your energy is very much appreciated and it's always going to be rewarded. But you're not going to do this for the reward. It's going to be out of your pure intention and genuine heart to support others and to support Gaia. So you want to keep your intentions pure always, okay? So that's what I'm guided to share. And so as a result of that, what's going to take place is that this is what we see as present moment, and if this was the past, present, and then this is the future, you see it's linear and it's very limiting. It's only one way or this way. So in order for that to expand and dissolve these concepts, we need to open up our heart. And then that's where the pyramid comes in, the triangle of the neutrality. So the reason why it's very important right now to embody this concept or the new perspective or level of consciousness in terms of triangle of the neutrality is that it's in relation to the idea of living in the present moment, and this moment is the only real, and that is the eternal, and all the others are just an illusion. It's because everything is neutral in the universe. That's the basis, and that is the essence. That's how the universe works, and that's a universal law. Everything is neutral. So that's why I shared about the concept that you've always been loved and supported unconditionally. Whatever choice you made, the universe supported you, whether it's something negative, whether it's something positive, because there's no judgment, there's no punishment. So that's the basic idea of non-judgment, or the neutral idea of neutrality. Okay, so that is something that we need to be educated on. That's my spirit team wants, and Gaia and Source really want me to continue to share this information for education purposes. Okay, so when that happens, what we are doing is basically in the duality consciousness, on a subconscious level, on a belief level, we are constantly choosing something because we believe that it's going to benefit us. And so even though it's not serving us, or it may be harmful, we believe that it's going to serve us. So that's why we keep on doing that thing, or keep on choosing that thing. And that's in relation to trauma. We are afraid that we might be labeled as someone bad, so we keep choosing certain things that's manifesting in our reality that may be out of balance. Therefore, energetically, so-called, we are creating karma in human language sense, but karma simply means action in Sanskrit. So whatever you choose, you're taking action towards, meaning you are taking action, meaning you are doing something on a physical level, and on a 3D level, anything to manifest action is the last step. So you are taking the physical action steps, and that's how things manifest, right? If you want something, you have an idea, you need to work towards it, and something happen, right? So we call it action, but actually it's like another vibration. In the neutral sense, what we are doing is we are constantly using justification or validating our own choices or something like that. So we are choosing something over others. And when we are choosing something, we are validating this as good or right or perfect. So we are choosing this so it benefits us. And then what is taking place while we do this in duality, we are at the same time on a subconscious level, due to this belief system, to know that I'm in this right place, we are invalidating something and giving something a judgment. So that's where that's how it used to keep people in hatred. So the idea of I like, I dislike. So I prefer this, I like this, and then I don't like this because I like this. So that's the duality. So when we are in that place, that is an extension of the concept of the forgiveness that I shared in my latest video. Is because on a subconscious level, because we are working with the duality concepts and the belief systems that have been building upon this, that had been also generated, that had been passed down from one generation to the next. What we tend to do is we tend to try to be seen as good. So that idea of forgiveness is also tied to that limitation, or the belief system of limitation that's building on the religious codes of this duality, reinforcing the concept of duality of good and bad, heaven and hell. And the judge is someone superior over you, superior to you. So that we hold a lot of shame on a subconscious level, that we tend to deny what is really taking place. We tend to deny our own certain emotions, and we shove them down because of this shame, that I don't want to be seen as this bad person, I don't want to be seen as this and that. So that's how so what we tend to do with the idea of forgiveness, and also people may hear that in order to ascend, or meaning raise your vibration, we need to release karma or get rid of karma, or the idea of karma, right, in the human language sense, meaning we need to let go of all these limiting beliefs in the subconscious that is blocking us from being who we really are, unlimited. You see, that's our essence. And so we are working with limitation and non-limitation, judgment and non-judgment right now very heavily, and transitioning from one to the next. And so when we look at it, because we have this generational codes that have been handed down, even though you may not have been brought up in a religious community or household, it's all built in, and it's all around our system and environment. So that affected our subconscious belief system. So that's where I mentioned we have to be very, very honest with ourselves, and look at the areas where we may be justifying ourselves, or we are forcing ascension, we are forcing healing, we are forcing certain consciousness. So anything, we may force something that's out of the ego without us realizing. So it's going on a very deeper level right now. So in order to, okay, like I need to get rid of this karma, I need to get rid of this karma, I want to raise my vibration. So we could also force healing. That is the ego. And when we do force something, it's the resistance. So it's going to keep us more stuck, and until we really get in alignment and get honest with ourselves and pull out the truth and work with the truth. Okay, so we may force ourselves to forgive certain people or forgive certain situations, while I haven't really felt the emotions all throughout, that you haven't really admitted or accepted these negative emotions that you may be holding, that you may be still angry towards these people or situations, or you may still feeling certain things, or you may still feel shameful of certain things, or still feel fear, but then you may say, I am confident, I am this, I am that, and I forgive. So that is part of this energy that we are working with right now, to go a little bit more delicate and more detailed with these energies, to work with on a deeper level right now, that we do not force. So it's more like a bypassing. We want to bypass. We want a faster result. That's why we force. But on a new frequency, we are not working. This present moment is not means to an end. Meaning we don't see this present moment, or we don't utilize this present moment to win. To win something, to win a result that is tied to the idea of power or prestige or something, like the idea of money. And this idea of money is also, we are constantly working with, right? That we constantly punish ourselves, meaning judge ourselves, that I made this choice and I wasted my money. And then when you have the perspective that you wasted money, we on a subconscious level tend to punish ourselves for making the wrong choice, right? That's the duality based inner working. It could be for a lot of people, especially if you resonate. So what we want to bring in is that this concept of the neutrality, that when you are constantly perceiving everything as neutral, there's no good and bad, right? So we are not choosing something over validating it over something else. So we do not choose something out of invalidating something. You see what I mean? So when we have the validating, invalidating, it's a judgment that is taking place within ourselves, in that inner working, that delicate, detailed level, on an energetic level, is what I'm going to share. So when we are choosing something, okay, I choose forgiveness, but we may not be aware that I'm also invalidating something over this. But everything has to be neutral in order for energy to be completely staying balanced. Meaning release the karma or reverse the karma, or however that idea is playing out in your head, to get rid of that energy, for us to continue to raise our vibration, so that due to that, I explained something about seeing everything with the negative purging video, that we want to see everything as helping you, And that is one perspective. So the story that is coming up is that we don't know how things are playing out. So for example, like the situation, like you're waiting for like an Uber or like something, and your ride, and then it just got canceled, and then you had to wait extra long for something, and then you may see that, you may perceive it as something negative, because our cells and DNA and how we've been trained, the nervous system is all based on living under efficiency, right? Because we've been trained to be the product, the means to an end. So human beings have been sacrificed as means to an end in the system of centralized power as a slavery, right? And we've been living under that, and we've been doing that over and over. And so you start to complain, and you start to experience energy of dissatisfaction and hatred of this moment. So you do not accept this moment, you start to hate this moment, and immediately on a subconscious level, the way we go is you may judge, you may punish yourself for making certain choices. Oh, I shouldn't have done that, or I should have done that instead. You see what I mean? That's when we are constantly operating on duality consciousness, because you're going to arrive late. That means you're wasting the resource. And that time concept is coming into play, that idea of time and space as the resource. And we constantly was trained to had to utilize it at its maximum capacity on efficiency in order to produce a result. And so with this belief system that is in place energetically, you are sitting with the energy of judgment in that moment. That's lowering our vibration. This is as an example. But in a neutral sense, when you are shifting or intentionally embodying this new concept that everything is neutral, the way you perceive, therefore your vibration will shift, meaning you stay in a higher vibration. Okay, so instead of lowering the vibration, meaning you immediately become a victim to that circumstance of what is taking place right now, and you are denying it, hating it, therefore you are creating resistance. And on a subconscious level, when you are not aware, you may judge yourself, punish yourself, right? All this judgment is taking place, and that's where you're sitting with energetically. Okay, and now how we want to transition is whenever these things take place, and that you want to be aware that the loss of time, the loss of money, the loss of space or the location, we've been seeing them as resources, means to an end. So we are constantly living in the future or going back to the past to reassess our choice and all the things, and creating fear because we do not want to make the mistake of losing our resources. That's tied to the idea of survival, is what I'm guided to share. But we are no longer living in that age, so we need to get out of that survival mindset constantly, so that everything is abundant, everything is neutral. And everything is neutral, meaning abundant, is because everything is helping you. Everything is there to serve you. And in a human language sense, everything is to benefit you. And when you constantly live in that state with that mindset or the new perspective or the point of view, when your car got canceled and then you have to wait extra long, you just accept it, because you're not attaching to the limitation or the limiting beliefs of that idea of time, space, money as the resource. to means to an ends constantly. That is the limit. That's the limitation. And the universe is limitless. That's why we call it abundant. It's constantly providing for you. It's constantly available. So there is enough for everyone is a concept. But the lack makes us compete, right? Get jealous, because everything we see as a resource. We see other people as the resource, means to an end. We see money, time, space, everything as we've been trained to do that. You see what I mean? So when we simply accept, oh, okay, you start to create a new meaning new frequency within your mental space, that there must be a reason. Okay? So the reason could be, you will know in hindsight, oh, okay, like actually it worked out fine. So I mentioned that straight line in the previous video or the recent video. We see that straight line is the most efficient to get to A to B. But when we are constantly resisting, it could take longer, because we are stuck on that idea of efficiency and perfectionism, right? Because everything is the resource. But we are the source. We are resource, and we can resource everything. But this idea or the concept has not been built in our system, right? So that's why we are bringing this in. And now when we see that as like this curve, that's where the flow state is coming in, the flowing. We may go this way, that way, this way, that way, but it is taking us to where we need to be in every moment. You see? That's where the concept of I'm always in the right place at the right time is coming. Because universe is always supporting and guiding you. And so there could be a lesson that you may need to learn in that moment. And when you learn the lesson, what happens? Some truth is being revealed to you in that moment. So there's value in that. So, I see. Now, this is not the way. I see that this is what I need to do. Or I sometimes lose track of something, and this is the pattern that I used to do that made me this choice, that got me this result. And now I see it. And that's the lesson when you say, I learned. And that's where you feel you remain grateful for that moment, is you stay aligned with this flow energy of constant limitlessness. That's the abundance. You see what I mean? So even though you learn something, but if we are constantly getting caught up on that idea of resource, time, space, people, money, as like always having to put together in a perfect square or a perfect thing, then we are constantly living under pressure and going into our ego mind to control everything around us. And that is the powerless state, because we are always in fear. Because the state of power within, that you know that you are powerful, means you don't need to prove yourself, because you are that. But when we are in that state of wanting to control everything, we are in so much fear on a subconscious level that we are constantly trying to prove something to ourselves or to prove something to other people. That's the duality state, validating and invalidating. So we are constantly in self-judgment and judgment of the situations that is preventing us to be accepting and flowing in this moment, that is creating resistance. That's where our vibration is getting stuck in a certain lower vibration, and then you experience that on an energetic level, and that's where you start to attract more negativity, meaning anxiety, worries, and frustration, impatience, dissatisfaction, hatred, jealousy, judgment, and more of that. And it creates a lot of depression and then meaninglessness. Okay, so what we need to do is you want to start seeing everything, that everything is happening for you. And the moment you align with that energy frequency on a mental space, it's going to connect to your emotional center, and it's going to resonate on a higher frequency. Okay? And then with that, it helps you widen your perspective from this limited vision, so that you allow yourself to be more flexible. And that's the flow state. You flow through it, and then you remain grateful at the end. So you are aligned with the state of abundance, this present moment. That, okay, I now see the lesson in it. Or, that happened because that happened, I arrived here late, but actually the meeting that I was supposed to be got postponed, and that's how everything just worked out. And then, so when you have this understanding or this new concept, or start to embody, you can remain present whatever happens, because you're not constantly waiting on something. You are doing whatever that is that excites you the most in that present moment, connecting with joy. That is the energy of love frequency. And then you're not constantly watching over, when is it gonna come? And then judging yourself on a subconscious level that you may not even realize is even lowering the vibration, right? And so you can stay calm, at peace, and in harmony. So that's the concept. I'm feeling called to really explain, and my spirit team has been encouraging me to share in this video right now, so that when that happens, how it's activating the heart is when the present moment and the future moment, the duality, is coming into balance from a neutral perspective. What we see is the heart shape. You see the 1, 2 duality, and then boom, in the center, harmony, neutrality. Boom, when we are connecting to it, that's the heart, representing the energy of heart. That is the love, that is the non-judgment, that's going to allow us to accept the situation for what it is, accept people for who they are, but we can still stay detached. We can still have compassion and allowing their own soul journey that is unique to them, and that they're doing their best to choose whatever that's best for them to evolve on a soul level. When we are not judging, so we can honor all these differences, right? So oneness is not about being one and being all the same, but it's allowing all this uniqueness and differences to exist as they are, and honor and respect them. And that's the idea of oneness. We are vibrating in that energy of non-judgment, peace, harmony, love. That we dissolve time, idea of time and space, and all these ideas of resources, even seeing ourselves as the resource, seeing ourselves as a product or a service even, that we dishonor. We've been trained to dishonor ourselves, like the part in a conveyor belt, right? And so now we are releasing all of that energy by first perceiving something now as neutral. So we do not choose something, and while we choose something good, we do not invalidate. We think that this is good, so we like idea of forgiveness, letting go, but we may not realize that we are trying to invalidate something over. So everything just happens, and that you can release hatred, you can release anger, you can release resentment towards certain people and situations, and bring energetic balance to your center, meaning bring all your power, energy back to your center, meaning your cords are cut, your karmic cords are cut. So when that happens, someone may try to push your button by saying certain things, or try to disrespect you, try to say something mean to you. You're not attached to that anymore, because that's not a fact for you. You do not agree, even though they may say it. It's their saying. You see what I mean? So you stay detached. It's not like you hate those people, or it's not like you're forcing yourself to try to understand them and try to see them as good. You see what I mean? To be a good person, to be a nice person, to be a forgiving, kind person, whatever idea that one may be handed down or trained to be as good. You are just you, and that is enough. Your authentic self is all you need. And that's what's enough for you and for anyone. And that's the concept that we are all equally important, equally honored, equally loved, equally provided, equally supported by the universe all the time. And that even though we think that universe or the world is against you, punishing you because you are experiencing a lot of negative things in your life, you've always been loved and supported unconditionally, because universe always supports your choice and honor your choice unconditionally. You see what I mean? Because you are on your own unique soul evolution journey. They honor that. They respect it. Everything is neutral. Everything is to serve you. You see what I mean? So, this Rumi quote is coming to my mind for me to share at this time for anyone resonating. So that that quote was about, I can't remember the exact wording, but the light is not afraid of for light to shine bright is not afraid of the night. So if we are afraid of the night, like the moon is, I think moon is shining light, bright, or something like that, and because it's not afraid of the night. So that's like the concept of it, that idea of light and darkness. We've been separating as light as good and darkness as bad, and something that we need to avoid, and this is something that we need to move towards. But in order to achieve that equilibrium, oneness, the Aleph that came to me as a channel message that I shared in the latest video, is that to embody this oneness, everything is neutral. That idea of oneness is the neutrality. We are going back to the basics in a way, that everything is neutral, and that we need light and we need darkness. And that's part of who we are. And that is an extension of accepting who we are as we are, instead of denying certain parts of ourselves or not liking certain aspects within ourselves that is projected outwardly, that is constantly making us judge. You see? And so that's the whole concept in order to continue to raise our vibration. Is something that I'm really guided to share in this video. So in the previous one, I shared something about the stone Ankh that I got in Egypt. So if you're interested, that transmission is in the, once again, on Patreon. And after this video, I'm going to record the video on the idea or the concept that we are working with as ascension symptoms, and how we can utilize what is taking place on a physical level, and how we can utilize it for the mental ascension or evolution, or on a physical level. So I'm gonna share that with you. Okay. So anything else, Spirit, that you want me to share? Okay, so the topic of North Node, South Node is coming up. So right now in the month of September, if you have, I mentioned this in my previous video as well, but if you have the South Node in Pisces and North Node in Virgo, this energy may be more meaningful to you, and it's going to help you release certain aspects within yourself. But it's all affecting everyone in the collective when we are going through this cycle, the lunar cycle. And then also next month will be, if you have the North Node in Libra and South Node in Aries, something that you want to work with, or like journal or reflect more on, and then that's how it's going to go on. And then it's going to reverse. Later it's going to be the new moon in Cancer, and then full moon in Capricorn, which represents the North Node in Cancer, opposite, North Node in new moon in Capricorn and full moon in Cancer, so that you can work with the energy of North Node in Cancer and South Node in Capricorn, like something like that. So earlier this year I mentioned that lunar cycle will be very helpful, and that we are going to go through this lunar cycle and work with the new lunar cycle. So that's where it's coming from. So that's something that I'm guided to share. Work with the lunar cycle to remind you once again. And it's going to help you release certain things by going inward and reflect on certain aspects where you may have been denying or avoiding due to limiting beliefs that's rooted in duality consciousness, that's creating constantly of self-judgment or self-punishment that is reflected outwardly or projected outwardly as the punishing of others or situations, or judging of others and situations, so that you can release yourself, free yourself from these energetic ties of the lower vibration, so you can feel lighter, you can feel more love, and you feel more deserving of love, and you feel more free to share your love. And when we are in that state, I think that's why they wanted me to mention a little bit of story that I shared when I had the first initiation. Everything got activated and I started to feel my wings, and the wings were tied down. And energetically, a lot of souls, we have a lot of implants, a lot of those energetic ties that we are working with. So something that I'm also guided to share is that you want to continuously work on being extra loving and kind towards yourself, and to look how far you have come rather than your shortcomings, and how you need to move ahead and how you need to work so much in order to do that and this. Because right now, as we are experiencing a lot of these solar flares continuously and this new light codes that are coming down heavily, it's not that we are just experiencing it on a physical level, that you may feel extra tired, you may get some fogginess in your head and stuff like that, but on an emotional level, you may feel a lot of anxiety, you may feel anxious, that is also expressed as some sort of restlessness or feelings of overwhelm as you experience a lot of changes in your life, or even a lot of new doors opening because you have a lot of options, and that it could overwhelm you with all these different avenues and opportunities you may be presented with. So it's very important that we understand these ascension symptoms and have a broader perspective on understanding this concept and how we can ground our energy better. And we can also utilize this because everything is neutral, and not just see that as something that is something as pain, like pain in the ass, right? Is what is coming. Like this ascension symptoms is pain in the ass. It's like, I'm getting this headache, I'm getting this blah, I'm doing this, and I'm feeling tired. And when we are having that thought or that perspective, once again, we are constantly going back to the old pattern of seeing everything as a resource, and that we don't have to do that. We don't have to prove ourselves to produce results or force ourselves to be something. Only then we are worthy. Only then we are lovable or loved. We are working out of that so that it is enough that you are living this moment, and there's no shame in choosing happiness and choosing to feel joy in everything, and over that you need to work harder, you need to work more, you need to produce something. Happiness comes first is what is coming right now for me to share. Allow the happiness to be your priority, be something that you work with to train yourself to choose happiness, okay? So that you can also not just forgive other people, but forgive yourself. And that forgiving that I mentioned in my previous video, the latest one, as choosing what is best for you, that is the happiness. When you do that in alignment with the energy of compassion, you can let go of the past situations and people in peace, in harmony, in love, because you see them for who they are, and then you allow them to be who they are, instead of you judging because you're afraid to be inferior to them, because you used to see them as superior, that they victimized you, they paralyzed you, they held the power to punish you, right? You no longer have that attachment based on that subconscious belief of limitation, of duality anymore, so you can release them energetically. So that's okay. The spirit wants me to just explain that there, and then everybody can take on their own insight as they relate to this if you resonate, okay? So that's how we are letting go and really forgiving. That idea of forgiveness, that it has to be shifted from the religious codes, that it's about accepting in detachment with compassion is what I'm guided to share. So we stay honored, and just like the word namaste, we allow differences to exist. We'll allow different perspectives, experiences, and journeys. not fight over out of fear. If I don't fight and take them over, they will eat me. So I need to do this. We are no longer living in that reality. And so the idea of superior, inferior, someone having power over you, and you're afraid that you will lose your power over something, you also continue to reflect on that so that you can continue to release with this new level of consciousness or this knowledge. If you are hearing this for the first time, or you may, as you resonate, you may find something new in this. So that's my intention for sharing this at this time. Okay, so with that, what I want to do is I want to utilize this amethyst crystal to clear your third eye a little bit, and that the full transmission will be on Patreon and the exclusive transmission section. Okay, so quickly I just want to help you clear your third eye. So you see through the illusions of duality of superior or inferior that used to create a lot of shame within yourself on a subconscious level. That you do not see your light, you do not recognize your own power because you believe that someone has power over you with that attachment, with that energetic cord. So now your wings can be freed. You can fly free. You can free yourself. So I'm going to share certain codes that's coming right now intuitively in your third eye to remove any implants that's planted in your third eye. Okay, so I just gave you that little bit. Okay, if you want to connect further and wants to receive the full transmission, I'm going to share all the information in the description box down below. Okay, so with that, I hope this helped you, and that whatever that you're experiencing, you may feel that you're the only one, and that why is it me, or why do I need to go through this? We're all in this together. So if you feel that way, I want you to visualize holding each other's hands all together in a circle as one, and then we are lighting up, and it's like that one candle, right? The power of this one candle that's lit up, that could be you. You see, when you are in that place, we don't have to have 1,000 candles in order to light up 1,000 candles. We just need one light, little light that starts, that can bring light to another one, and then another one, and then another one. So that's why it's very important right now for us to trust the process, to keep ourselves in love and light, and embody continuously of this new level of consciousness and perspective of neutrality, and this new knowledge that is in alignment with the higher frequency right now. So you can see yourselves as this candle that is lit. Okay, and how you can do that is when you simply see yourselves as the light. I am the light, that you lit up your own candle. Okay, so I hope this helps, and I'll see you in my next video, guys. Bye.